Hey, what is up guys, Omogonix here and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. So this is part 9 of my Godot tutorial series where I teach you guys how to make a basic horror game in Godot. So to start off in this part, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys how to make like a flashlight energy meter. So when your flashlight energy meter is turned on, it will drain, and also what I'll be doing is I'll be showing you guys how to actually allow your player to find and pick up batteries. So then your flashlight energy meter can go up, so it's not just always going down, and then there's no way to, make your flashlight work again after it's all drained. So yeah. So if you do enjoy this tutorial, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And let's get right into it. Well, not right yet actually. First thing that I do want to talk about is ULEM Shadow Memories, my new horror game that is coming out soon on May 24th, so there's only a couple days left until release now. So yeah, be sure to go wishlist that, and hopefully you guys do enjoy it if you do end up playing it when it does come out. And now, without further ado, let's get right into this tutorial. So as I just said before, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a flashlight energy meter, and then I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually make flashlight batteries, allow your player to pick them up, so then your flashlight energy meter can go up. So what we're going to do to start off is we're going to go into our UI scene, and here we have our sprint slider. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm just going to call this flashlight slider. Also, by the way, if you haven't watched earlier parts of this series before, I do recommend that you do, since it will give you more context into certain things, because in earlier parts I may explain certain things better than I do now, since I've already explained them in earlier parts, and I feel like you guys should understand certain things enough, so then I don't have to, constantly explain every little detail of how a certain thing works. But yeah, so if you haven't watched earlier parts, I do recommend that you do, just in case. But yeah, and let's keep on continuing. So here we have our flashlight energy meter. I'm just going to put this like in the top right here. Or we could even, have it down here as well, but I think it'll be better placed on the top right probably. And if you want to as well, you could maybe even have some text which does say, flashlight energy, or you could even have like an icon if you want to, which shows like, just a battery or a flashlight, to show like that it's a flashlight energy meter. So I'm just going to write flashlight energy. And yeah, so this energy meter here will only be enabled when our flashlight meter is actually on. When our flashlight itself is actually on, I meant to say. Alrighty, there we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rename this text here to flashlight text. And then I'm going to group these two things up together in a control node. And I'm just going to call this, we'll just call this flashlight stuff. There we go. So now when we change the visibility of this, as you can see, the flashlight energy text and the meter will turn off and on. Alrighty, so now that we have our flashlight energy meter ready, what we're now going to do is we're going to go into our flashlight script, and we're actually going to create a new variable, and I'm going to call this var flashlight UI. And then we're also going to create another new variable, and we're going to call this flashlight energy. And then we're going to go func underscore ready. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go flashlight underscore UI equals get underscore node, and then root, and then we're going to get out of the quote here and then go plus get underscore tree current scene dot name. So what we're doing here is we're just getting like the path of the flashlight UI, and then we're going to go UI / flashlight stuff, and boom. And now we're going to do the same thing for the flashlight energy variable. So the flashlight energy variable will equal to the same thing here pretty much, but there's just an extra step. So after flashlight stuff, we'll then put flashlight slider, and then boom. So now what we're going to be doing is in the process here, we're going to be doing if visible. What will happen is the flashlight energy dot value will minus equal to, and then I forgot another variable here that we'll need to put. This will be drain rate, and I'll just make this equal to 0.05 for now. Minus equal drain rate. So basically what's going on here is when our flashlight is visible, the flashlight energy value will go down by the drain rate. And I know that in usual tutorials, usually what I do is I usually would do something like, let's say for example, flashlight energy dot value equals to flashlight energy dot value minus the drain rate. But yeah, I've decided to do it this way from now on, since you know, it's just simpler. And yeah, I was just so used to doing it the other way that, you know, I just kept on forgetting you can easily do it this way as well. So yeah. Oh, and another thing I forgot to do was times delta. So yeah, so again, in case I didn't explain it well the first time, if the flashlight is visible, the flashlight energy's value will go down by what the drain rate equals to, and then it will times by delta. And the reason as to why we're multiplying by delta is so then it's not dependent on the frame rate. So if you're playing at 30 FPS, that could mean that the drain rate could actually go slower for you. Meanwhile, if you have a higher frame rate, the drain rate could be faster. And then what delta does is that basically makes sure that that doesn't happen. So then it's not dependent on the frame rate. And yeah, so that's pretty much all you have to do here. Also, another thing which you need to do as well is if visible, we'll need to do if flashlight underscore UI. Wait, no, we don't need to actually do that here. We need to do that here actually. Sorry. Flashlight underscore UI dot visible equals to visible. So what that means is if the flashlight is visible, then the flashlight UI will be visible. So yeah. By the way, sorry if I sound a bit weird. I've just been a bit sick over the past couple days, but yeah, I'm doing alright. Turn off the flashlight stuff, go back into the level, test it again, and boom. So as you can see now, when I turn on the flashlight energy meter goes down. And then when I turn it off, it stops. So now that we know that our flashlight energy meter works, what we need to do now is we need to make sure that when our flashlight energy meter equals to 0, our player actually can't turn it on anymore. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add in here end, and this is for if our player presses the flashlight action button. So end flashlight energy dot value over 0. So now what this does is our flashlight will only be able to be toggled if the flashlight energy is over 0. So yeah. And then what we'll do here is we'll add another line if flashlight underscore energy equal to 0 and visible equal to true, visible equals false. So what we're doing here is if the flashlight energy the flashlight energy dot value I meant to put. So if the flashlight energy dot value, so the value of the flashlight energy slider, if it equals to 0, and if the flashlight is visible as well, then what will happen is the flashlight will turn off. So now let's actually test it out again, and we'll see how it goes. Pick this up, turn it on, and let's see how it all works. So as you can see, the flashlight energy is going down as accordingly. And then it turns off. And as you can see, I can no longer turn on the flashlight anymore, because now the energy equals to 0. But one thing that we need to do as well is make sure that the flashlight energy meter also turns off. So we need to do, in the if flashlight energy.value equals to 0 and if visible equals to true line, we need to do flashlight underscore UI dot visible equals false as well. And yeah. So that there is pretty much it for the flashlight energy meter. That is how you do a basic flashlight energy meter. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to make some batteries, and we're going to place a few around to test out the player picking them up and then making the flashlight energy meter go up again. So let's do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new scene, a new 3D scene. We're going to call this battery. And also, we're going to make it a static. We're going to change the type of this parent object to static body 3D. And then mesh instance 3D. And here we go. I'm just going to turn on the lighting as well, just so I can, see what I'm doing here better. So here we have our little battery. I'm just going to duplicate this mesh instance, and I'm going to make it a bit smaller, maybe 0.5, then bring it up a bit more here. Actually, now when I think about it, I should have probably made the height of this cylinder too, since that's like a good battery length, I think. There we go. So that there is going to be our battery. I'm now just going to apply some materials to this. We'll add this like metal material, and then we'll add this as well. There we go. So that there is our flashlight battery. We're also going to need a collider as well, since you also want to have a collision shape when it comes to static body 3Ds. And there we go. And boom. So now with this battery, what we're going to do here is we are going to now make a script for it. A new script. We'll call it battery. And I'm going to save it into my scripts folder. Go create. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a new variable. And this variable will just be called flashlight energy. And then we're also going to have another variable called energy add amount. And for now, I'm going to make this equal to 0.5. So basically, when you pick up a battery, it will give you an extra 0.5 of energy, because that will be about half of the battery's value, since the battery's value equals to 1. So yeah. If you guys want to change that value, you can, of course. This is just an example. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing here. With the energy amount, you guys can do whatever energy amount you want to, of course, but yeah. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to go into our flashlight script that we just did before. We're going to copy this code here for the flashlight energy, and then just paste it into the ready section. And boom. So now with this, we can get rid of that, and then we're going to go func. And then we're going to go interact flashlight underscore energy dot value plus equals energy add amount. So basically, when the player picks up the flashlight, when the player picks up the flashlight, when the player picks up the battery, the flashlight energy value will go up an extra 0.5. or an extra amount to whatever the energy add amount equals to. I say 0.5 because that's what my energy add amount equals to. And then after you pick up that battery, we'll go Q_free to free up that battery from the scene. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save the scene, save it here, and boom. And then boom, that's pretty much it for your flashlight battery. Anyways, now when your battery is all goods, and you've done everything correctly, what we can do is we can start placing the battery around in our scene. So I'm just going to do a random one here actually. We'll place a battery right here. This is quite a huge battery. We can of course scale it down. I'm going to scale this to about 0.3 is a bit large as well, 0.1. That looks like a better size for a battery, I think. So there we have a battery, and we'll have a few batteries just to use as an example here. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the flashlight. I'm going to turn it on. And now, let's see the moment of truth. And boom, as you can see, when I pick up the flashlight battery, it adds on to the flashlight energy amount. And boom. And then boom again. And so yeah. So that there, guys, is how you add a flashlight energy meter and how you add batteries to fill up your energy meter. So yeah, very simple, and hopefully that was very easy for you guys to do. So another thing which I will show you guys how to do as well is I want to also do like a pickup sound on the flashlight batteries. So I'm pretty sure in my level scene I've already got like a pickup sound in here somewhere. Yeah, I do, in the OBJ pickup thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to do so with the in the battery scope, that's where I want to go. We're going to go var pickup sound, and then I'm going to do pickup sound equals get_node, and then I'm just gonna copy this first section here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just making it so then when you pick up the battery, the pickup sound plays. So we're gonna go plus and then quote sounds. You guys can do whatever path you want to, of course, because just in case your scene tree or hierarchy is different to mine, then you might have a different path. This is just what the path of my hierarchy is. So then I'm going to go obj pickup, since that's the pickup sound I want to assign. So then when the battery is picked up, we can then play that sound. And boom. So now if we go into our level again, oh, and another thing which I might actually want to do as well, in order to make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen, is we'll want to also add in that we can't actually pick up the batteries unless the flashlight has already been picked up. So what we'll want to do for that is we'll actually want to go into our battery script, and then we'll go var flashlight. So I just want to go to the actual player scene so then I can get the player's correct path. So we're going to go var flashlight, and then flashlight equals get_node root get_tree dot current scene dot name. So basically we're just getting the name of the scene, and then in quotes again we're then going to do player and then head and then flashlight. So that's just the path to my flashlight in my scene. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go if flashlight dot picked_up equal to true. That is when we'll be able to actually interact and pick up the batteries. Because if we pick up the batteries when the player hasn't held the flashlight yet, that's just going to be a waste. So yeah, that's just a little safeguard which I'm going to be adding in here. So yeah. So now I do want to actually go test this out, of course. So now let's go test it all out. So if we try pick up the flashlight, sorry, not the flashlight, if we try picking up the battery, as you can see, we can't pick up the batteries anymore. I'm here trying to press the E key, but I can't pick them up until I pick up the flashlight. And then boom, now I can pick up the batteries. And so yeah. So the next thing I'll be showing you guys how to do is how to do actual random flashing lights in your scene. So let's say for example you're just wandering around your level and then one of your lights just starts randomly flashing. I'm going to be showing you how to do that next. But one thing I did want to talk about before I do get into that is recently I made a tutorial on how to do shaders in Godot. So if you want to, learn how to add shaders into your game, whether it be to, for a more artistic effect, or, whether it be to make your game look a bit more scary, or whatever else purposes you want to use shaders for, right? Well, be sure to watch that tutorial in case you don't know how to use shaders in Godot. Otherwise, if you do already know how to use shaders, then good on you. But yeah, so if you don't know how to use them, I did make a tutorial on how to do shaders recently, so be sure to go check that out. I don't know if I'll be showing again how to do them in this series, that's why I just thought I'd mention that, but I might, it depends really, but yeah. Anyways, how about now we get on to what we're going to be doing next in this tutorial, and that is again, flashing lights. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up the scene for my light. So here is the current scene that I use for the lights that you see in my level. They're very basic, it's just a sphere with an omni light coming out the bottom of them. Your lights can be more complex if you want them to be. Like if you want to have a full proper model for your lights. This is just an example for this tutorial of course, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a script on the parent node of my light. So I'm going to create a new script and I'll just keep this as light. Save it in my scripts folder. Go create, and there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to get rid of that, and we're going to create a few variables here. So we're going to have @export. So this will be a public variable, and this will be min time. So what this is this will be like the minimum time it takes for the light to start flashing. So this will be the minimum time. And it'll be a float. So that's the type of variable it is. It's a float, and then we're going to export var, and then max time. So this is the max amount of time it will take for the light to flash. And then we're going to have two more variables. It's pretty much just the same thing here, except this time it's min flash time and max flash time. So min flash time and max flash time. And the reason as to why we're doing public variables for this is just in case you want each one of your lights in your scene to have different values. So yeah, it just allows you to edit each value of your lights individually rather than, doing it all in the script so then all of your lights have the exact same values, you know what I mean? So yeah, it basically just allows you to have a bit more customization in that sense. But yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go var underscore process delta. Oh, wait, no, not var, sorry. Func, that's what I meant to put. Is we're going to do a variable. There's a variable I forgot to do. Var loop will equal this to true. If loop equals to true, loop equals to false. This is just so then things don't repeat over and over again. And then what we'll do here is we'll do var rng equals random number generator dot new. Oh, I forgot to put an extra equal sign there. And then var rand equals rng dot randf underscore range. And then here we'll have the min time and the max time. So what we're doing here is we have created a new random number generator. So RNG is a new variable we've created here, and it basically basically is a new number generator, a random number generator to be specific. And then we have a new variable called rand. And then what this will equal to is a random range of floats. So this will be between the min time and the max time. So, you know, let's say for example your min time is 5 and your max time is 10. You know, this could like this rand number here, when it's getting a random value between the min time and max time, could get a value between, let's say for example, 8.73, you know what I mean? So yeah. And so now what we're going to do is we're then going to, so after our random number has been taken, we're going to go await get underscore tree dot create underscore timer. So we're going to create a timer, and then this will be rand false. So what false means here is basically this timer will only work when the game isn't paused. So yeah, it only works when the game is actually, you know, working and functioning, and you know, you haven't got the game paused at all. And then we're doing dot timeout. So basically what will happen is after the number of seconds that rand equals to, we'll then be having an actual flashing animation play, but we haven't done that animation yet, so that's what we're going to do. So for now what we're going to do here is we're just going to write pass, and we'll just keep that there until we do get this sorted out. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new animation player, add a new child node, animation player. And then we're going to create a new animation, and I'm going to call this flashing light. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the animation for this flashing light here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my OmniLight 3D, and then I'm going to keyframe the energy of the light. So I'm going to create a reset track for that, so then it always equals to that when there's no animation going on, or it always equals to a value of 1. And then so now what I'm going to do is at random portions in this animation, I'm just going to, you know, mess around with the energy value, turn it up and down, and just have some erratic, you know, lighting flashes, you know, so then we have some random flashing. So at 0.2 in my animation, I'm just going to turn this down to 0.4 on the light energy value, go keyframe that, 0.3, turn that up to like 0.9, keyframe that, turn this down to 0.2, keyframe that, and yeah. Again, sorry if I sound a bit weird in this video, I'm just sick at the moment, and also not only that, but it's like 6 in the morning. I started recording this at 5 in the morning, so yeah, it's been about an hour now of me trying to get this done, but yeah. Overall, I think I'm doing alright. So right now, I've basically just been playing around with the light energy value. You can't actually really see anything going on since, you know, this scene is just empty. But yeah, it's just got my light in it. I might actually make the animation a bit longer, like 1.5 seconds long. If you're confused about animation in Godot, I have made a tutorial on animation in Godot before, and also there are previous parts of this series where I have, I think, gone into more detail into animation in Godot, so yeah. I'm just not going into too much detail into it right now, because I've already, like, talked about and stuff, so yeah. So now I'm just changing the energy value of the light here and setting the keyframes. And then it will end off at 1.5 again, and boom. So yeah. Now what we're going to do, now that we have our animation player all ready for our light, now we're going to get rid of pass. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go animation player. So the reason as to why I'm doing $sign is because it is a child object of the node which this script is attached to, so I can just easily access the animation player like that. And then I'm going to go .play, and I'm going to call this flashing light. And also, if you want to as well, if you actually want your flashlight, if you want your light to loop for longer than just, a single animation. I will actually include a variable for that as well. So we'll call this loop flashing. And that's what the min flash time and the max flash time are actually for as well. So we're gonna make this like a public bool. And so we're gonna have our animation play here, right? But what we're gonna do here above this is we're gonna have if loop underscore flashing equal to true. Then what we'll do here is we'll go animation player dot get underscore animation, and then flashing lights. That is what the animation is called. Oh, and by the way, guys, you don't have to write flashing light for the animation name. It can be whatever your actual flashing light animation name is. So yeah. So we're gonna get the animation. We're gonna go dot loop, and then equals true. So yeah. So if you want to have your actual light looping, then you can loop it to true. And then what we can do here is if loop underscore flashing equals to false. So if it equals to false, then what we can simply do here is we can make loop equal to true again. However, if loop underscore flashing equals to true, then what will happen instead is we'll go await get underscore tree. Oh wait, no. What we need to do first actually is we need to actually do a new random variable. So we need to copy this code here, paste it down here. So now we've got a new random number generator. Oh wait, no, I don't think we'll need to generate a new random number generator since we've already got one. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to go var rand2, we'll call this, and we'll go RNG, and then with the min time, we're going to change this to min flash time. So basically, if you've got it so then your light flashes, it loops on flash. Basically, it will loop for a random value depending on what your min flash time and your max flash time equal to. So it'll equal to a value between these two values here, the min flash time and the max flash time. And then we'll copy this code here, paste it here, put the 2 there, and then what will happen is loop will then equal to true again. So now after this part of code here, what we're going to do is we're then going to grab this, paste this here, and then we're going to make it so then the animation then no longer loops. And then loop will equal to true here, and boom. So then your animation should stop after looping for a certain number of time. So yeah. Now, if you don't want your flashing lights to like do any flashing whatsoever, like you don't want some flashlight. I mean, you don't want some flashlights. You don't want some lights to like flash at all. We can actually include a variable. We can include it and called export var. And then flashlights at random, or flashlights at rand, and then just make this a public bool. And then what we can do here is we can do end. So if loop equals to true end, flash underscore lights at rand equals to true, that's when the actual, random light flashing can occur. So yeah. So now that we're all done with that, let's go into our level scene, and I'm going to go find my lights, and I'm going to go set their values and stuff to test them out. So in my scene, I have 3 lights. So with this one, I'm going to actually make it so it flashes. I'm going to set the min time to 4, and the max time to 15, just so then we can see it in action. And also, I want to have this one looping as well. The min loop time, I'll make equal to 6 seconds, and the max loop time I'll have it equal to, or the max flash time I should say, I'll have it equal to 15 seconds. And then with light number 2, flashlight at random, I'll make the min time equal to 10, the max time equal to 30, and then I won't have this one actually loop. So I'm actually just going to, set these to different values, try out different things, And then with this one, I won't have it do anything. Ah, randf underscore range. Sorry guys, I accidentally spelt something wrong here. There we go. Alright, that should work. Sorry, I accidentally spelt a variable wrong. That should all work well now. And yep, everything's all goody. I just realized as well that I also misspelt randf range here too. I just forgot the D, so yeah. Alright, so I was just doing another little test, and I just realized that for some reason there's like an error here, basically saying that this here can't equal to like a bool value for some reason, which is really weird considering that this works totally fine. There was no errors with this. But then all of a sudden when I want to make loop equal to false, I can't do that. But yeah, anyways, let's just get rid of this line here. What we're going to do instead is we're just going to do play and then reset. So what we're going to do is we're going to reset the animation. And yeah. Usually when it comes to my scripting for these tutorials, usually I do things a bit differently to how I do them in my games, because I like to do things a bit more universal in a way, because I might make my games a bit differently and design them a bit differently than you guys, and so with my tutorials I just like to make them as universal as possible in terms of, you know, how I do them and, you know, the methods and stuff like that, so yeah. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to test this all out and see how it all works, so let's go. So as you can see, the light is flashing, and then it stops, and boom. Need to pick up the key and stuff. So as you can see, we have a bunch of light flashing there. Now this light doesn't flash at all. I made it so this light doesn't flash at all. But then this light can. Oh. And also we can also get chased by an enemy here as well. And oh no, I've got no light now. Damn it, my light ran out of battery. I'm probably gonna die from the enemy now. Oh no. Oh no. I'm getting chased by a scary capsule. Oh. Oh no. Death. Yeah, so there are a few things to adjust there with the lights, I do think. For example, I'm pretty sure one of the lights shouldn't have been continuously flashing just then, but they were. I might be wrong there. But I feel like I just noticed, which light was it? Let me check this light. Yeah, this one doesn't have loop flashing on. What I'm guessing is probably because they all share the same animation, then it all loops them in a way. I guess what I could do is, if loop flashing equals to false, I'll just make us an animation player up there. We'll just put this line here. So yeah, just to make sure that if you don't want your flashlight to loop after the animation is done, what you can do is you can actually go, we'll just copy this line of code here, and you can just enter the amount of time that your flashing animation goes for. So if it goes for, like, let's say for example 1 second, 1.5 seconds, just enter that in, and then after your animation is done, then your animation player can reset. And the reason as to why we're adding this in is just as a safeguard for the you know, the light looping, and just in case you know, making sure that if you only have a few lights in your scene that you do want to loop, right? With the animation, I don't know if when you do .loop equals to true, if that affects all the lights that have that exact same animation. So this is just a safeguard for that. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Anyway, so that's why I'm adding that in. It's just an extra safeguard to make sure that everything works properly, basically, since, you know, I like to make sure that everything's working properly, so yeah. In fact, what I will do is I'll actually add in a new variable. I'll just call this animation time. And then we can just make that a float. And then we can just enter that in here. And there we go. So yeah, this is a bit longer than the usual light flashing scripts I usually do for my games. The only reason it is a bit long like this is because, you know, there's a bit more variables for customization and stuff like that. So yeah. One thing which I just realized is I forgot to enter in the animation time for the for that light, since it needs it. I don't think the other lights do. Yeah, it's just that second light there. Alright, now I'm gonna test it out. Alrighty, now let's go test it out. So here we have this light, of course, just doing its thing. That all works perfectly. And now let's wait for this light. And as you can see, this light did its thing. And, you know, the animation quickly finished up, since it is only a 1.5 second long animation after all. If you want your animation to be longer, of course, you can have it be longer, but yeah. So yeah guys, that's pretty much the end of this tutorial today. Before I do end it, however, I am going to show you guys how to do like a light flicker sound. So then when your lights do flicker or flash, whatever you want to call it, then yeah, basically, you know, it makes a sound. And now with our light here, we're actually going to add a new child node, and this will be an audio stream player 3D. And then I've already got a flickering light sound, so I'm going to add this in. So this is my light flicker sound. And with the 3D sounds, you can actually set a max distance. So if you want your player to stop being able to listen to the light flickering from a certain distance, you can do that. So yeah, the reason as to why we're using an audio stream player 3D is because obviously, you know, the sounds play from, you know, 3D around you. So if they're coming from your left, you can hear it from your left. If it's coming from your right, you can hear it on your right. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. And I'm just going to call this flicker sound. You guys can call it what you want to. And then there's some other settings you can change here as well, of course, like your volume and stuff like that. But with me, I'm just going to leave mine as normal. I might actually turn down the volume just in case the sound is a bit loud, so I will do that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my light script. And then I'm going to find the code that has to do with, you know, playing the flashing. So we're going to go, oh, and also something else as well, which you might want to do as well, is on your flicker sound. You might want to make sure that you enable the looping, so you want to make sure that it loops. I'm going to go flicker sound dot play, and boom. And then whenever we have our animation stop, the flicker sound will stop. And boom. So now, without further ado, we can test this out. Oh, and something else that I do want to talk about as well is in this tutorial, I was actually going to show you guys also how to actually make it so then your AIs can open up and close doors, or just open up doors in general. But yeah, I don't really have time for that, and I forgot that I wanted to do that until just now. So yeah, that will be something I do in part 10. I know I said I was going to do it in part 9, but yeah, I forgot about it, and yeah, so we're going to be doing that in part 10 now. So I don't know if you guys can hear me well. Oh, so I don't know if you guys could hear me well just then, but as you could see, it is flashing quite well. So yeah, this game... So yeah, this game is coming along quite nicely, I would say. Let's say it's coming along quite nicely. Oh. I just want to listen to this flashing light sound again. This dude trying to come after me. Come on, man, this is unfair. I've got... Oh, there we go. Just want to listen to that flash. Oh, and you got me. Fair enough, you got me. Also, I want to show you guys how to do the random def text as well. That's something else I'll show you how to do in a future tutorial. But yeah, so that there is part 9 done. There is a bunch more stuff we'll be doing in this series, of course. So, you know, as you can see here, we've got our basic main menu. Then when we click play, we're then taken to the game. We can pick up our flashlight. As you can hear right now, we have the flickering lights. We have the flickering lights over here. And we can also pick up our flashlight. We can, you know, have a flashlight energy meter which goes down. Pick up batteries. We can pick up letters. Pick up keys. We can interact with doors. We can pause our game. We can do a bunch of stuff at the moment. So yeah, we have done quite a bit. We've also done the scare triggers, the AI. So we've done quite a bit in this tutorial series so far. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'll be sure to see you all next time. Bye-bye.